welcome back to another vlog. If you're new here, hi, my name's Katie. I'm a freelance editor and an indie author. I have 3 books out right now, and book number 4 is coming out this month, March 30th. I'll have links down below if you want to look into stuff. But today we're just going to start a new vlog. I don't know if this is going to be a daily thing, a weekly thing. We'll see. Today's Tuesday. It's a little afternoon. I feel like I always start these clips when I just got out of the shower and my hair's wet. But yeah, we've had a really great morning. I started off with an editing client. I have 2 right now. I'm working on 2 manuscript evaluations. So I worked on one of them this morning. I haven't touched the other one still. So we'll do that one a little bit later this afternoon. I kind of like to break them up. And in the meantime, we're working on my book, which I'm editing, and I'm also writing a book. So it's a mess. Let me catch you up. I'm still editing book 1. For the Marionettes, which is, if you haven't been around for a couple of weeks, I wrote this book in November for NaNoWriMo, and it's the first book in a paranormal romance urban fantasy series, and I'm in draft 3 and I've been going through beta feedback. So basically over the weekend and yesterday I was making some more edits and stuff, and this morning I sat down and I made a list of everything that's left to do, because I think I made all of the big changes, like knock on wood. One of my readers has a couple of chapters right now. She's like 2 sections away from the end. Where is she? Oh, she's at that scene. So I'm still like making chapter level changes when she gives me the feedback back. I also made this very messy timeline for the book today. But anyway, I made a list. They're not like something I can go in and change. It's like something I want to watch for consistency throughout the entire draft. So my plan is to read through the entire draft and chapter by chapter look at everything on this list and be like, is this the best I can do for all of these things chapter by chapter? So once I finish doing that read through and also going through this beta reader's feedback, I think I'm gonna have this draft like where I want it to be. So one of my beta readers who's already read through it all the way, an earlier version, I told her I would send her the new draft. So I'm gonna send that to her once I'm finished with all of this to see what she thinks of the changes. And then depending on where that's at and how I feel, I might bring in 1 or 2 new beta readers who are completely fresh, who haven't seen this book at all. And because I'll be feeling like, oh, this is like where it needs to be, getting some fresh eyes on it I think will be helpful, because if they're still really confused, obviously we didn't change enough. So my plan is I want to get this draft done. I'll do this read through with all of these changes before the end of this month, because then if I do end up sending it to beta readers, I can send it off to them in April, and I'm going to be doing Camp NaNoWriMo in April. So I'm going to be writing a rough draft, so it'll be good for this to be with other people because I won't be working on it anyways. Which brings me to, I'm writing book 2 for Camp NaNoWriMo next month, but I actually already started writing the book because I was super excited and I've been really enjoying writing that. So if you've been around for the vlogs for a while, you know I have been fighting for every word in this first book. The word count has been a struggle. But this is what our word count is currently. We are finally over 60,000 words. And then this is where we're at with book 2. We've already started to make a pretty decent chunk with this one as well. We're in chapter 3. So yeah, that's what's been going on and will be continuing to go on. I'm trying to think if I have anything else to update you on. I feel a lot better about the length of book 1. I've been like worried that it's been too short for a while. I did make a list of basically any gaps in the timeline that have potential where I could insert another scene or another chapter there if I needed to. Not that there's necessarily anything missing, but a lot of these sequence events are like back to back to back to back, that like I literally could not fit anything in there, or I wouldn't want to because I wouldn't want to disrupt that pace. So I made a list of places that I could add more scenes if I end up needing to do that. But as it is, I think it'll get a little bit longer with my remaining edits, but I think this might be kind of in the ballpark of what the final length of this first book will be, which I think makes sense, and I'm a lot happier with it now. I think book 2 is going to be a lot longer than book 1, which happens a lot with series, so I'm not freaking out about the length anymore, which is good. I don't know how much I want to tell you. I just want to tell you guys more about these projects, but I also definitely don't want to spoil you. And it's also so early into the process that like, do I tell you now? I don't know. I've been asked if I have a set release day for book 1 yet. I don't. I'm still kind of figuring out what my plan is for this series. I am getting the covers made in May. My cover designer is going to be making the first 4 covers for the series, so then I'll just have those. By then I'll have the first 2 books written. Anyway, if you want to add this book on Goodreads, I'll have the link down below. There's also a Spotify playlist you can listen to if you kind of want to get the vibe for the book. But we're gonna be working on this today. It's funny, I have such a hard time with timelines. Maybe because I have no concept of time in my own life, and that would make sense. But my beta reader was talking to me about it, and so I was like, okay, if you've been around since I was editing my book, The Anti-Relationship Year, that's the one that's coming out this month. when I was doing edits for that, I had to make these timelines for myself, like literally, here they are, they're right here, map out the timelines for myself because I couldn't like conceptualize it. So we had to do that with this book too. And what's interesting is like, I thought it was way off, and it definitely wasn't coming across the right way in the text, and my beta reader was really confused. But then when I sat down to map it all out, I was like, okay, so my instincts were right, and this does all fit in the timeline properly. There was just like a couple of ways that I worded things that threw her off and then like greatly impacted what she thought was going on with the timeline. Because the thing is, I guess you're gonna learn more about the book now. The first book is just a span of 2 weeks. So thankfully, as I mapped out the timeline, if everything fits within that 2 weeks, and it does make sense, I just need to make it more clear in the book which day it is, which doesn't sound like a big deal. The reason why this has been uniquely challenging for me is because the sleeping schedule is swapped from ours. So they're up during the night and they sleep during the day. So that has been so confusing for me to like figure out what wording to use. Like, do I say it's today? Do I say it's tonight? Do I say it's yesterday? Because they start their day like when the sun sets and they end their day when the sun rises. So that's technically 2 different days, but that's like 1 day for them. So like what words should I be using? So it's been very hard for me to figure out. So obviously it's coming across like kind of confusing the book, like, wait, what day is it? Is it morning? Is it night? I don't know. So basically, there's not a right or wrong answer to this. I just need to decide for myself what kind of language I'm going to use to describe this, make it clear in the book, and then make it consistent throughout. So that swapped sleep schedule is causing me so much trouble. Anyway, we're gonna be working on this today. I'm still having so much fun with this series. I'm having so much fun editing this book. I can't wait to tell you guys more about it. So I guess I'll update you later. Hello. We haven't moved. It's now 3 o'clock. We've been sitting here for 3 hours, but we're breaking out a second energy drink because I'm on a roll and I need it. But I thought I would take you through kind of what I've been doing with my beta feedback, because I believe I got a question on this on a previous video. So anyway, I'm still working on book 1. I just added a new scene which added a little over 1,000 words, so our word count is now 61,343. But anyway, one of my beta readers just got back to me, so I just sent over the new chapters to her, and I thought I would just kind of take you through how I go about beta feedback. So I send them questionnaires for each group of chapters, and the questionnaire is the same for all of the middle sections. I have different questions for the first round of chapters at the beginning, and I have different questions for the last chapters, because I feel like the beginning and the end I need to know different things. And then the middle I have the same questions pretty much every time. I send them 11 questions. And so my beta readers fill out the questionnaires, and then some of them also annotate the manuscript in Word with track changes. So I don't print out the comments that they do in the document. I just pull it up on my computer, but I do print out the questionnaire. So I believe the question that I got was something along the lines of like, how do you go about interpreting beta feedback? Like, how do you know what to listen to, what not to, and stuff? And I feel like that's a whole video that we could do in the future. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know. But basically what I do is I print out these questionnaires. I'm looking for a highlighter. I guess we're using pink today. And I read through all of the feedback. And if you're someone who isn't used to getting feedback on your work, and you might be a little defensive, a little apprehensive, like a little less open to it, I would recommend reading through all of the feedback and then don't touch it for a little bit. Let yourself mull over it, process it, think about it for a day or two, and then come back to it. Even me, even though I'm totally used to getting feedback, sometimes something will just like strike a nerve and even I have to do that, but most of the time I'm okay. So I print out their questionnaire, I read through all of the feedback once just to kind of go through it, and then I'll read through it a second time, this time going through and highlighting the things that I agree with, which means sometimes there are several things that my beta readers will say that I just don't agree with. I'm like, oh no, that's not right for this story. Or sometimes I just see like, oh, I see because they commented this that something about this needs to change, but not in the way that they're suggesting. So a lot of the times you'll have beta readers who, you know, suggest, I think this is the issue that I see and I think you should do this, this would solve it. And they'll be right that there's something not working with part A, but their suggestion on how to fix it isn't right for your story. So basically I go through and I highlight just basically the notes that I agree with, and anything I don't agree with I either skip over it or just cross it out. And then I go through as I'm changing and cross out each highlighted thing as I complete it. So hopefully that makes sense. That's just like a really brief version of it, because like I said, there's a lot to go into with that. We could talk about that for like 20 minutes by itself. But as far as how you know whether or not you should make a change or not, I think part of it's like a gut feeling. If you read something and you're automatically like, oh no, that's not right for the story, I would trust that instinct, as long as it's not coming from a place of like defensiveness of like, oh no, they just don't get it or whatever, you know, don't listen to it if that's the reason. And I also think it's really important to have more than one beta reader, because if you have several people saying the same thing, you should probably listen to them. However, if you have several people saying the same thing and you really just don't feel like it's right and you don't agree with it, that does not mean you have to take that advice. I would just do a little bit of soul searching and just like really look into what it is that they're saying. And maybe you don't like the solution that they're offering, but I would really try to see it from their perspective and try to see why they're interpreting it that way or whatever, and see if you can come up with a change that you like better, but would still fix whatever issue they're having with their manuscript. It's hard to explain this because you have to talk in like such vague terms, because I'm not going to tell you like specific issues that I have in my book right now because spoilers, but hopefully that was helpful. Anyway, we're going to go through, highlight some things that need to change, perhaps add to my list of things to do, and keep working on this for probably like another hour until 4 o'clock, and then we will switch back over to client work. Also, while we're on the topic, this vlog is just turning into me talking for a really long time in this position. If it would be helpful to have the questions that I ask my beta readers, I could put that up on my website in my resource library or something, just let me know. I always start off with my beta readers saying like, don't feel obligated to answer all of these questions. I just like to send them in case I have anyone who doesn't have any experience with beta reading or just would find it helpful to have a little bit of a guide. So I give these questions not as like, you have to answer these questions, just here's an idea of what I'm looking for in case you need a little bit of guidance. For example, like I send them 3 chapters at a time, and so some of the questions are like, was there a point at which you felt the story lagged or you became less excited about finding out what was going to happen next? Where exactly? Were there any parts that confused you or frustrated or annoyed you? Which parts and why? Did you notice any discrepancies or inconsistencies in time sequences, places, character details, or anything else? Has the progression of the plot seemed natural and at a decent pace so far? Has anything seemed to happen too fast or too slow? These are just some of the questions that I ask, and then I just leave a space at the end for any notes or comments that don't fit into the previous questions. Okay, it's now almost 5 o'clock. I was still working on my stuff. I filmed some, this is not focusing at all, some clips for our reading vlog, for my book club for this. I'm now more than halfway through, so that's good. I ended up adding 2 new scenes, so we're now over 62,000 in the marionettes, and because of the new scenes, I'm gonna have to write a completely new scene, but that's gonna be a pretty big task, so we're gonna do that tomorrow. And now I'm really tired and I need a break. I still haven't worked on my second editing client yet for the day, so we're either gonna do that later tonight after I take a break, or I'm just gonna do twice as much as usual tomorrow. Hello. Oh, that's cute. It's first thing in the morning. I just woke up. It's Wednesday. I'm just about to put the news on and get started on an editing client. This has kind of been my morning routine while I drink not my coffee. I've been having one of my liquid IV hydration ones in the morning instead of, you know, immediately jumping into dehydrating myself with coffee. So starting with this wakes me up more actually, and then we'll jump to the caffeine, don't you worry. So I'm gonna sit here and work for a little bit, but my audiobook narrator for the anti-virginity pack just finished up. So now I just have to go through and listen and approve it. And then this one will also be going through ACX's approval process and hopefully be out soon. This one is almost, oh my gosh, I think that's the exact length pretty much as the other one. 8 hours and 23 minutes. Hold on. Let's see. That would be funny because they are not the same word count at all. 8 hours and 9 minutes. But I think the 56 seconds was the same. That's funny. So they're about the same. Yeah, so we submitted the anti-relationship year on March 6th, so we're just waiting for ACX to approve it. And once I finish listening to the anti-virginity pact, I will approve it and it will start this process. We're not going to talk about it. It's 11:30 now. I did both of my editing clients. I read a little bit more of this and started editing this vlog. The last clip that I film, which is like my review of the whole thing, always ends up being the longest part. But even just the vlog of like reactions so far, it's already like 15 minutes long. This reading vlog is gonna end up being like 40 minutes long. I just have so much to say. But the reason why I wanted to film another clip, I'm looking rough, so we're keeping the hood. I also went back to revising the marionette this morning. I have been going through my highlighted things from my beta reader, and I also, I think I told you this yesterday, figured out some new scenes I need to write, so I just need to like get myself into the right mindset before sitting down to like actually tackle that big of a change. Maybe I'll just pace around the condo and dictate it. That's kind of been my thing for whatever reason. If I'm like feeling blocked, if I'm sitting here and looking at the computer and I can't get it to work, the second I step away from my computer and just start talking and walking around and dictating it, like, I guess I'm just not thinking as hard about it and I'm just not putting that much pressure on it, and it's so much easier that way. Which makes sense because when I used to get blocked on the computer, I would translate over to a notebook and just writing physically, and that always helped me get unblocked. So now I just find that dictating does the same thing for me, and it's a lot faster than handwriting. But anyway, the reason I wanted to make this update, I've been meaning to say this in the vlogs for like the past 3 vlogs and I just keep forgetting. So, and this is gonna be like buried pretty late in the vlog, so I guess I'll make like a post about this in the future. But if any of you guys watching this are artists who take commissions, I would love to hire someone to make some character art for me for the marionettes. This is just like the first of my books where I feel like that would be really fun to do, and then if I end up liking it, maybe we'll go back and make like something for Joanne Miller or something. But if I'm gonna hire someone to do that, I would love to hire one of you. So if any of you are artists who take on commissions and would be interested in doing some character art for me, feel free to email me, slide into my DMs, whatever. Or if you have any suggestions of artists that I could reach out to, feel free to let me know. So if that's of interest to you, let me know. I'm gonna take a break. We're gonna go work out, get ready for the day, and then we'll get back to work. It's now 1:15. I was crashing so hard, like I felt like I needed to go take a nap. So I took a nice long shower, got ready, and I feel okay now. So I'm actually going to dictate that new scene I need to write for book 1 while I paint my nails. And I just got an email from my beta reader who sent me back the chapters that I sent her yesterday. So I'm gonna send her the ending to the book today and then go through her new feedback. I did write a little bit more for book 2 also this morning, so we're just kind of jumping around projects right now and making progress where we can. I still need to listen to those files for the Anti-Virginity Pact. I honestly only listened to a little bit this morning, but that's what's going on. For now, we have a new scene to write. It might take me a while, and it's gonna take some trial and error, but let's see what we can get done. Okay, I have to cover words because spoilers, but we ended up doing about a 10-minute recording and we got just over 1,000 words, so I'm gonna clean it up now. You can see it's all one paragraph. They don't break it up, so now I have to go through and like break it up and stuff, but we have not finished the scene yet, but I got a good start. Progress.
I had a feeling you'd come back and save me from all those lonely nights and heartbreaks, and I feel misplaced without you. Why don't we go back to, why don't we go back to, never wanted to end it like we did. I guess shit happens for a reason, but it's like something feels different from back then. Why don't we go back to, why don't we go back to, honestly I'm open wide. I don't feel like waking up without you by my side. I still see your silhouette.
Hello, happy Thursday. So it's currently about 10:30. We've been working on the marionettes all morning, so now I'm gonna switch gears and go over and start working on some client projects. I still would really love to get back to this later today, but we'll see. Our word count is looking great. I think we've passed over the point in the revisions of like cutting things and stuff like that, or changing what I already have without like really adding to it. So now every change that I make, I'm seeing the word count grow. So like before, when I was so frustrated and when I was talking about the word count so much, it wasn't so much the word count, it was the fact that I felt like I was changing so much, but the word count was never changing. So it felt like I wasn't making any progress even though I was. So now we're about 65K and I still have a ton left to do, so I'm definitely thinking it's gonna get longer. And I double checked just because I was curious, and the anti-relationship year was a little over 66,000, like 66,300 or 400 or something like that. So right now the marionettes is about this length. I think it's gonna be longer, but that, just conceptualizing it like, oh, this is a full book, like this is a decent length now, is nice. So if we were done now, it would be about this big. For reference, this book is 284 pages. So yeah, we're gonna get to work. I'm gonna set some timers and probably do editing client stuff at least until lunchtime. It's now 1 o'clock. I finished with one editing client and I started the second one. We're gonna do a little bit more work on the second one later today though. And I just went through all of my remaining beta reader notes and stuff for the marionettes, and I've been making some changes. So I think I was saying this earlier in this vlog, how I want to do a read through and check for consistency for like a whole list of things. I haven't started doing that yet. I think I'm going to take a break from this for a couple of days just to give me some space from it before we start that read through. I only have one beta reader who's reading anything right now. The other ones I put on pause while I figured out this draft, and she has the last 5 chapters of the book. I have been doing lumps of 3, but these are the last 5 chapters and some of them are like really short, so I just sent them all to her at the same time. So I'm waiting to get her last round of feedback back because I've been changing like specific things based on her notes, and then we're gonna do the read through for like all of the things, if that makes sense. I don't know if any of this is making sense. I've gotten to a point with all of the chapters that I already have notes on where I don't think there's anything left for me to do because I've been changing things all over the place and randomly and out of order, and I've been adding scenes. Like I have no idea how the flow of things is anymore. I have no idea if all of the scenes that I've added are repetitive or anything. So basically I need to read the book all the way through, start to finish, with all of the new changes to even see what I'm working with right now because I don't know. So we're gonna wait for her feedback, change stuff on the end chapters based on that, take a break, read through it all again, and get started with our next draft. That's the plan. We are officially over 65K, which is great. And I haven't been consistently working on book 2, but every now and then I'll jump over there and add some words. So this is where we're at with book 2 so far. Also, I forgot to say, I've gotten some orders on my shop on my website for signed books, and I'm shipping those out later than I usually would because we had that huge snowstorm and I was literally snowed in for like 4 days. So I couldn't go to the post office or anything. Like I'm talking like the snow was up to like my mid-thigh. I was literally snowed in. So I've packaged one of them right there. We're gonna package, I think I got 2 separate orders for the Sweetest Kind of Poison. So yeah, if you're interested in signed copies, they're up on my website. When we're not in the middle of a snowstorm, I'm usually pretty fast about shipping them out. So if you ordered one lately, I'm sorry there's a bit of a delay, but I'm shipping them out as soon as I possibly can, I promise. I'm gonna package the other 2 orders up, and I think I'm gonna take all of those to the post office tomorrow. Anyway, I'm editing this video right now and it's already fairly long, so I'm gonna end it here. I think I'm actually gonna do a regular vlog over on my blog channel tomorrow. So thanks for hanging out with me this week. I hope you guys are all doing well. I'll have links down below in my description for tons of stuff if you want to go check them out. You can add the marionettes that I'm writing right now on Goodreads if you want. And there's only about a week and a half left to pre-order this book if you want to before it comes out on March 30th. Pre-orders help authors so much, so I would really appreciate it if you wanted to pre-order a copy, or you could just add it to Goodreads. But yeah, if you're new here, maybe subscribe and stick around, give the video a thumbs up, all of the usual stuff, and I will just see you guys in another video very soon. Bye. No. Pretty Caroline, oh, 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 Stone